Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smells Like Teen Angst. I'm Sarah, and today we are going to talk about Wicked for Good. Now, before we get started, make sure you subscribe to our channel, comment along, and let us know what you've thought of the Wicked adaptations so far, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any more of our angsty videos. Now, let's talk about Wicked for Good. The first Wicked movie for me was a 10 out of 10. I thought it was a fantastic adaptation of the stage play. I thought it did a wonderful job adding new elements in order to flesh out the story in a way to make it feel grounded and to make it relatable and honestly make it even much more of a stomach punch when it was time. Ariana Grande's performance was spectacular. Cynthia Erivo was incredible. Jonathan Bailey, there is a reason he is the sexiest man alive. And I knew going into Wicked for Good, this movie was going to have a lot of heavy lifting and convincing to do. It's the same with the second act of the stage play. I believe the second act is only like 45 minutes. It's very clunky. It had the most work done because for some reason they had a really hard time sticking the landing. And while the film does a much better job of the stage play, I give Wicked for Good an 8 out of 10. There's a handful of issues that I personally have with it that I think were easily fixed, that for some reason, they just didn't. First of all, I'm going to start off with all the amazing positives. I think the music is incredible. I love the world that we're now seeing. I think Elphaba's lair is gorgeous. She's living in the trees in this beautiful, not quite Swiss Family Robinson treehouse. That is stunning, and I would live there. The film, just like the stage play, takes place a year later after all of the events of the first one. Elphaba has been honing her craft in her beautiful treehouse, figure out the grimoire and figure out how to do more spells and to possibly help people, to expose the wizard, to expose Madame Morrible, to help the animals, and in the end, help herself and her friends, because that's the goal. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande continue to do a spectacular acting job this time around. You can absolutely feel the visceralness from each of them and the corners of the world that they're in. Ariana Grande does a lovely job of portraying Glinda's inner turmoil, of fighting everything she's been told she's wanted, fighting getting her dreams, of being important, of people continually looking up to her, of being a public figure, and actually her conscience and what her best friend needs, and in the end, even what Fiero wants. Cynthia Erivo is, really, there's no words. She's so good in this role. The tone of her voice as well truly makes these songs hit even harder for me. A lot of times they're sung by really high-toned mezzo-sopranos, and Cynthia Erivo's deep, rich, soulful voice really adds a lot of weight to this character and weight to the songs. Just get ready for No Good Deed. That is my favorite song in the entire show, and they do incredible justice. I said, fuck it up. Because Cynthia Erivo, there's some vocal line changes that I just didn't see coming, and they're incredible. The addition of more animal storyline is very necessary because that is what Elphaba is fighting for. She is fighting for their freedom. She is fighting for them to be treated as equal. And that is where the first original song comes into play, No Place Like Home. It's beautiful. It's kind of reminiscent of the song that's in The Wiz. And it truly embodies the moment of people. And it's honestly so relevant to right now, of when you feel like the people in power hate you, of when you feel the people making the decisions aren't listening and look at you as if you're lesser than. And it is a very beautiful and heart-wrenching moment. And the song is gorgeous. I can't wait to listen to it on the soundtrack. Now, I know we were all looking forward to As Long As You're Mine, me included. I have seen this stage play multiple times, and sometimes I feel like I'm intruding during that song. However, this movie said we are PG. And we are solidifying that PG rating. Just remember, it is PG. The song is not sexy, and I'm a little sad about it, but I do like some of the changes for it to not be sexy, but also it's Jonathan Bailey, and I just want to see him be sexy. They use the opening lines of the song much more conversationally. Elphaba's first verse is very much an internal monologue of like convincing herself that he's there. She's like, I just can't believe it. And it's her like, oh, this isn't happening, right? Is this happening? And, Jonathan Bailey's thing is very much like convincing her in the moment. And then they're just cutesy flouncing about until they lay in bed and it fades to black. Now, look, I was not expecting like full on uncomfortable anything, okay? But I was hoping they would at least keep it as steamy as the stage show. I do think the PG rating, I wish it was a little more PG-13 because I think as far as the rest of the storyline goes, it could have been darker. This is a very dark story. This is a story of war. Act 2 is completely different than Act 1 tonally, the way the songs are sung, the theming throughout. Act 1 is still when the rose-colored glasses are on, when everything is fun and you're in college and figuring out who you want to be. Act 2 is when they have made a choice, and it is literal war that Elphaba is going to with the wizard and the people helping him. And I think PG-13 would have helped it in a few ways. I also feel this movie could have used like 30 more days in edit. And I say that for a couple of reasons. I didn't love a handful of edit choices. I think there is a moment of de-aging that looks horrendous. Like if you're gonna de-age, and this is a Universal movie, I need it to look just as good as Harrison Ford in that Indiana Jones movie. And that is not what happens here. And I think it would have been better that they could see, you know what? This kind of looks like garbage. Maybe we shouldn't do it. And the same point would have been made without the face reveal. We get it. Don't treat the audience like idiots, because they're not. And I think it was really obvious in the first movie what they were doing. And it was even more nail on the head in the second movie. And then that reveal looks like trash. I'm just going to say it. That looked like trash.
Well, just as I thought, trash.
I also do not think we need Girl in the Bubble. I think that song is redundant. I also don't love the way Ariana Grande sounds in it, because to me, she sounds like pop singer Ariana Grande versus like Broadway musical movie singing Ariana Grande. She did so impeccable in the first Wicked movie. I was looking forward to her in this film. And I honestly think first, I'm like, was she sick? Why was she not singing as strongly in that Broadway tone, enunciating? I could understand her words. And in this film, it kind of falls back again to her pop star sound, where everything's a little further back, everything's a little more mumbled and less enunciated. And I was honestly disappointed in that. And I'm very curious how or why that happened, because it was just her. And Girl in the Bubble is a redundant song at this point in the movie. And I think that's why it was like cut from the original show. Because at this point in the movie, we know exactly where Glinda's at. Glinda's turmoil is, do I stay here where I am adored and admired, or do I do the right thing and join my best friend in her fight for righteousness? And at that point, and at the time, like it's literally with the witch hunter, right after, during witch hunter in this film, we know what she's about to choose. We know that she's going through this horrible choice turmoil. And then when you cut to the next scene, I think that's more powerful than that song. I think that song really slows down the pacing of the just over 2 hours film. And it was wildly unnecessary, which they knew it was unnecessary in the musical. So it almost feels like they gave Cynthia a new song, so they felt like they had to give Ariana a new song. And I just need you guys to know that you don't have to do that. Ethan Slater eats this shit up. His turn as Bach is phenomenal. He's so underutilized in the first movie, which to be fair, he's a very underutilized character in Act 1. Act 2 is his act. Like, he's so good in this. And there is an added scene that I think was so necessary, and I think it was a great choice to add to the film that really adds on to his hatred of her and how he is truly a captive to Nessa and her wants and hopes and dreams, because she's like head over heels in love with him for some reason, and he obviously is not. So when the turn comes and the surprise comes, and we're ready to hunt the witch, him in that scene is diabolical. The visceral hatred in his eyes and his voice in this performance was so good. Like, I just wanted to stand up and clap because nailed it. That was so special. Jonathan Bailey, that man could have chemistry with a wall. Lord, there is the reason he is the sexiest man alive, and it's because he's just so him and so charming. And as Fiyero, I loved all of his moments with trying to convince Glinda to leave. And even the makeup / CGI that they used for his character at the end, I think it's really hard to do that. And I'm trying to stay semi-vague. I mean, this story, the book's been out 100 years. The musical's like 25 years old. So sorry if any of this is spoilery, but really isn't. They did their best. Like, I don't know how you would make that better, honestly. And it's going to look weird, and it's going to look, you know, fantastical, and it should. We're literally in the land of Oz. It's fine. Jeff Goldblum is a national treasure. I love him as the wizard. Whatever he's drinking is like got him having a good time. Wonderful is slightly changed, and I think that is a great choice. They actually add Glinda to it, and I think that is a very smart choice that really adds to the weight of Elphaba choosing to join the wizard or not, to save her skin, to leave her cause in a way that maybe she could help her cause. And having Glinda be part of that really makes that a heavier decision and choice. And I really liked that change. I thought that was so smart. The 11 o'clock hour song of For Good is wonderful. I'm like, I was trying to think of like a bigger, better word to use, but it is heartbreaking and powerful. And it is still such a lovely, beautiful song of love and friendship, and how people really do change your life. That if we let them, people can change your life for good. And people come into your life for reasons and seasons, and that's okay. It's necessary. It shapes who we are. And it was just beautiful. So overall, while I do have a couple of nitpicky issues, PG being the biggest one, I think that For Good is a very strong film. I think it's going to be polarizing because of how different it is. I think it does have a little bit of pacing issues. You could have probably made this movie an hour 45, 2 hours, like shaved about 15 minutes off. But that said, it does fly by. So I wasn't sitting there checking my watch by any means. But there are a handful of moving pieces and extra scenes and songs that I think could have been tightened or just like let go of completely. But in the end, I think it's absolutely worth a watch. It is a beautiful ending to one of my favorite musicals that truly changed my life. And thank you, Jon M. for doing such a beautiful job.
I have been changed. Think of what we could do together. For good.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'm Sarah. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Comment, let me know what you think about Wicked for Good. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.